So hello YouTube, what I have in front of me is shitload of fans, well, coolers. And a friend, which has Cool Tech Review channel, decided to upgrade his existing cooler, which is from Ryzen 7. Now his configuration is Ryzen 5 3600X, which is this one, and has 16 gigs of RAM. Currently he's using RTX 2060, which is, well, this GPU by gigabyte, and for the test purpose we will be using power supply by the brand Neon, which is 80 plus bronze and 600 watts, which is just enough for our test. This will be the thermal compound that we will be using for the, well, tests. Okay, we actually have a couple of fans. So we have two RT coolers, which are eSports. We have CM212X, which is from Cooler Master. We have Freezer 34 eSports Duo, which is basically eSports but with two fans, and there are some differences. Then we have Freezer 34 CO, Freezer 12 CO, and Freezer 7X CO. All of them will be tested. Now the test will be actually quite simple ones. We have motherboard which is not inside the case, so it is in an open air. So you have to have in mind that temperatures will be bigger if you have the cooler inside of enclosure, obviously. So keep that in mind. So let's take a look at the fans and let's take a look at their specifications. So first one is a Freezer 34 eSports. Now basically these two are actually the same, but they have a different color, so I wanted to show you the colors that actually exist. So what do we have? We have a TDP that's up to 200 watts. We have bearings that are fluid dynamic bearing. So what else do we have? We have a thermal compound which is supplied with the cooler itself, which is MX4, which is the same compound that we will be using as well. And basically that is it. So is there anything about the noise? These are the dimensions, the weight, which is 267 grams. And yeah, what you get inside, and basically nothing more. So the next fans that we have are Freezer 34 eSports Duo, which are basically eSports but with two fans. So you know what? I'll put Freezer 34 eSports box side to side with this one, just so that we can see the comparison. So same thermal compound. This one is up to 200 watts. This one is up to 210 watts. This one is from 200 to 2100 and RPMs, which is the fan, and basically they are the same. Okay, so basically this one has two fans, this one has one. The next one we have is from a company called Cooler Master, which is CM212X, 492 grams. This is the dimension, this is the supported CPUs. We do actually get the airflow in here and the air pressure, which is, well, I'm not quite sure, it's not something I consider useful, but there you have it. But I do consider useful the fan speed, because that will add up to the noise. And this one is from 600 to 1700 RPMs. 2-year warranty, which is always nice. And the last three we actually have are these Arctic coolers. Well, basically all of them are Arctic coolers. So you know what? Let's take a look at the specification side. So Freezer 34 goes from 200 to 1800. Freezer 12 goes from 0 to 2000 RPMs, which is quite nice. As you can see, this is actually a, well, passive cooler, I would say, so it's entirely controlled by power management, I believe. And this one goes from 300 to 2000 RPMs. This one is 734 grams, this one is 480, which is basically half of this one. Well, not half, but almost. And this one is 425. And all three supports Intel and AMD, and these are the supported sockets. And I believe that, yeah, this one comes with MX4, and this one comes with MX4 as well, unlike this one that comes with MX2, which is, I would say, a bit, well, lower quality. And I believe that this one comes with the, let's see, yeah, this one comes with the thermal paste already spreaded on the heatsink, so you would probably want to change it to MX4 or maybe even some better one. Okay, so having said all of the things, let's start with the video. Hi, so this is my friend Davor over there. Anyway, he decided to update his cooler, stock cooler, and we decided to test a couple of coolers, and since we're at it, we decided to record it. So this is the actually brand new power supply which we will be using in order to do the testing, and well, we'll be right back after we will hook everything up. What we have in here is the stock CPU cooler. Anyway, what we'll be doing is actually removing it and changing the thermal paste, and then afterwards we'll be testing it. To load the CPU we will be using software called Prime 95, and to test we will be using hardware ID, CPU ID / hardware monitor software. So we'll load the CPU for like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and We'll see how hot it'll get, and we'll measure the temperatures with the hardware ID software. So first of all, let's change the thermal paste. So yeah, before I go any further, this is not the stock cooler that you get with Ryzen 5, but with Ryzen 7. So this one is a bit bigger. So yeah. Okay, now let's apply some thermal paste. Is this thing too much or not? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, don't judge too harshly. And I do need to turn on the motherboard. And I will be using this thing because, well, I do not have the power button, but I believe that these two are power. There you have it. So we connected another USB as well, just so because this table is lit up, so you know what, why not? So as you can see, we are between 32 degrees and 50 degrees. So at the moment it's 54, 45. So let's start up Prime 95 and let's see what will happen after 5 minutes, how hot the CPU will get. Okay, so just stress test, 12 cores, and let's choose the maximum power heat CPU stress test. Okay. Oh boy, a lot of threads. So I'll be moving this thing and let's see about the temperatures. So as you can see, we are already at 80 degrees. That is a lot. But let's see how hot it will get within 5 minutes. So it is at 82 degrees at the moment. So I did start my stopwatch and we are at, well, 1 minute. So yeah. So we are at 1 minute, as you can see, and we are around 86 degrees, which is, well, not great, not terrible, I guess. But I can tell you one thing, and that is that this CPU cooler is quite low noise, so that is a big plus, definitely. So we are at 3 minutes, and again, 86 degrees. I'm guessing this is not going over 86 degrees. So yeah, as you can see, 5 minutes has passed, and we are at 86 degrees. So stock cooler is at 86 degrees maximum. So the next cooler we'll be actually testing is Freezer 34 eSports. But first we'll shut down the computer, obviously. So we actually have two, and one is white and the other one is green, and we just wanted to show you so the way they look. Obviously the only difference is that this one is green inside and this one is white. Which one do you want to use, green one or the white one?
Green.
Okay, cool. We'll remove then this one, and he will do the unboxing and the installation, obviously. Davor will apply some thermal paste and screw this thing in.
Sure.
So let's start the CPU ID and let's see the temperatures. So CPU is around 38 and maxing at 44. So let's start Prime 95 and also my stopwatch. Again, stopwatch started. We are already at 77 degrees. Wow. I believe that the one maxed out at 86, if I'm not mistaken. 78. So we are around 1 minute and we are at 79 degrees, and this is actually 7 degrees less than with the stock cooler so far. So we are almost at 3 minutes, 2.5, and we are around 80 degrees. So this cooler is way better already than the stock cooler.
Upali tele da se kuli.
Ako baš moraš.
Let me see.
Oh. And we are at 5 minutes, as you can see, yes. And it is at 80 degrees, so 6 degrees cooler. Awesome. Regarding noise, it is a bit louder than the well, original cooler, but not that louder. You do not actually hear the fan spin itself, you actually hear the airflow, which is quite okay in my book. So anyway, 80 degrees and time for cooler number 3. Just a smidge. And let's install the cooler. So yeah, now all I need to do is actually connect the fan, and this should be it. And let's power on the computer. So again, Prime 95 and CPU hardware monitor. So we are around 48 degrees and maximum is 55. Prime 95. Again, the same test. And I need to start my stopwatch. So we already jumped at 78 degrees. 79. 80.
Koliko je?
80.
Isto. Znači prevara.
Što ćemo je?
Jesi stavio novu pastu?
So we are around 1 minute mark and it's actually 81 degrees. We are at 82 degrees. So one thing I can tell you is that with two fans it's actually, the cooler itself is way more quiet. But yeah, we are at 82 degrees. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So we are at 5 minutes and we are at 84 degrees. Now one thing is, and the cooler itself is way more quiet than the other one. However, the other one was not that loud, so I don't know. The model with one fan is actually cooler than the one with two fans. However, this one is more quiet, so I don't know, take your pick, I guess. Which do you prefer, to have a cooler CPU or, well, more quiet fans? Now, to be honest, I would always choose more quiet fans because 4 degrees, okay, it is a difference, but not that great difference, and the CPU should not be throttling anyway at 84 degrees, so yeah. Okay. So let's fire up CPU hardware ID, hardware monitor, and okay, CPU is at 60. Let's start Prime 95. So the CPU is already at 81 degrees. Wow! Can it be that this one is actually 82? So we are at 1 minute 4 seconds and we are at 84 degrees. So yeah, by the way, while doing this, we are at 86 degrees, so we are at stock cooler fan value. So this is, well, obviously not worth buying, because if you have a stock cooler that has the same temperature, why waste money? It might be a bit less noisy, but not worth the money in my opinion. Anyway, we are at 3 minutes, but I wanted to show you something. I actually have an ad. I'm selling my old camera for YouTube, and spammers are actually getting quite quite smart, you know. If you actually receive SMS from somebody that tells you answer to an email and this is the email of this fucking cheat, don't do that. So we are at 5 minutes, 5:03, and as you can see this is steady at 86 degrees. So it's not better than the original one, but it's not worse. So yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, this one is definitely not worth buying. Well, unless you do not have any fan and you want to go, I don't know, not spending much money, I guess. So yeah, this one is Freezer 34 CO. Let's connect it and let's turn this thing on and let's power on the motherboard. So let's fire up the CPU ID, the hardware monitor, and fire up the Prime 95, and we are at 46 degrees and 56 tops. Let's start the smallest with the maximum power / heat / stress, and let's start the stopwatch itself. So we are at 79 degrees. So we are at 1 minute mark, and we are at 84 degrees. So this one is, I guess, better than the stock one so far. So we are at 5 minute mark, the CPU is at 85 degrees. So yeah, now we have Freezer 7X CO. I won't be actually using the thermal paste on this one, and the reason being is that this one already has thermal paste. So yeah. And let's install the GPU itself and turn the power supply on. So let's fire up the hardware CPU ID and let's see the temperatures. So we are at 45 degrees, 51. Let's fire up Prime 95. Okay. So we are already at 81. 83. Okay, 84, 85, 86. So we're at 42-second mark and we are already at 88 degrees. So we are at 2 minute mark and we are at 90 degrees. And the original one is, I believe, at 86. So yeah. And we are at 5 minutes and sorry, it's not in focus, there you go. And yeah, this thing is at 90 degrees, so it's obviously the worst on our test list, I would say, but well, there is no but, it's the worst. I would not recommend it, most definitely. So yeah, so this is the last one, Hyper 212X. Oh, fancy. So again, just a smidge of thermal paste. Let's remove this thing. Oh yeah. So I do wonder what the results are gonna end up. But yeah. So let's take a look at the temperatures. So we're at 39 degrees. Nice. And again the same test. Oh. So I believe that the top score was 80 degrees. We are at 78. 79. 80. We are at 82 degrees. 83 degrees. 84 degrees. So we're at 5 minutes and we are still at 85 degrees. Not the greatest cooler, I guess. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, it's quiet, it's definitely quiet. As you can see, the fans are at 891 RPMs. So this is actually quite pleasant because you actually cannot hear the noise, which is awesome. So there you have it. These are the coolers that we have tested. And well, I don't know. It's up to Dover to decide which one will he actually use. But yeah. Well, until the next time, if you like this video, please click thumbs up. If you did not, you know what to do. If you have any questions or comments regarding what should we test in the next videos, please let me know in the section down below. Well, until the next time, cheers!